I am the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So I was going back over my content on the YT Studio thing and realized I haven't done a Necron defense in a month, and it's been a really long time before that. Definitely time for another Necron defense, so I was looking over the various factions that I have laying around the basement here. I haven't done a defense against AdMech, and if I put the Night House together for them, then it's actually big enough for Necron, so it's more worthwhile as a defense. So we're going to do that. AdMech, Necron defense, should be a good time. I recently bought a combat patrol for Astra Militarum, and while I don't have the field pieces put together completely, I've got them sub-assembled. Pretty much everything else is together. This is the banner guy from the Cadian command group. And I don't know if it's just a general complaint, but why do the Cadian shock troopers need 10 pieces per guy? They're not very big. As my other example, I suppose, this Necron Wear 9th edition, 6 pieces. I don't know. I know that he's going to be a good time to paint. I'm certainly looking forward to that. Alright, so we're going to be doing I'm not going to say a classic graveyard setup, but since I do always do, for the most part, graveyard setups for the Necrons, we're going to do this kind of a graveyard, courtyard kind of thing here. A little bit of a gate, and then kind of an open expanse over here where the AdMech will be starting out. So yeah, should be a lot of fun. I'm certainly looking forward to it. So we'll meet the armies next. Alright, so we have the AdMech grouping here. Let's start with the Night House. So we have a real Night Castellan, and then I'm going to proxy in my Night Desecrator as a Night Castellan. Twin Shieldbreaker, cannons, Volcano Lance, the Plasma Decimator, and something else. I can never remember. 3 Armored Warglaives to finish out the Night House here. And then for regular AdMech, led by Belisarius Call, is followed by the Size of the Emperor Space Marine. I've been told by the guy whose AdMech army this is, that in the lore, Rute Gilliman has a Space Marine follow Call around at all times to make sure he's not doing naughty things, I think, maybe. So this is his lore representation of that, so in respect for that, I just put him in every time. The Space Marine never does anything, he's just there making sure Call doesn't do anything naughty. We have a Tech Priest Engineer, a Tech Priest Dominus, a 10-man unit of Skitarii Rangers, 10-man unit of Skitarii Vanguard, 5 Skitarii Ruststalkers, 3 Cataphron Breachers, 2 Castellan Robots, an Iron Strider Ballistari, an actual Dune Strider, a Scorpius Dune Strider, and then a proxy for it. And these will be what the Vanguard and Rangers charge in a battle in. So yeah, AdMech. I think it's like 156 power level, all told. Alright, so this will be the Necron defense force for the day. Normally I run like a surface defense force, just all the heavy supports, and then I run my Convergence of Dominion as teleporters. But today, I figured a mostly infantry defense would be a little bit more enjoyable, so that's what we're going to do. I'm led by this Necron Overlord, that's a void size. Got a Lord, pretty sure that's a war size. A Royal Warden, and an old school Cryptek who is now, how do you do that? Abracadabra, Kalamazoo, he's a Technomancer. Yeah, two 10-man groups of immortals with Tesla carbines. Two 9-man groups of scarabs. Two 10-man groups of the Necron warriors. They both have 5 Gauss Reapers and 5 Gauss Flares. Two groups of 3 Scorpec destroyers. 3 Hexmark destroyers. They'll be running around in a teleportarium. Two groups of Locust heavy destroyers. Each one has 1 Enmitic exterminator and 1 Gauss destructor in it. 2 annihilation barges. This one has the Tesla cannon. This one has the Gauss cannon. 2 Canoptic Doomstalkers. And 2 Doomsday Arcs. That's what I got defending for Necrons today. Alright, I'll reset the board. I'm not going to have to roll deployment, so Necron defense, the attacker always goes first, so... Yep, reset the board, set these guys up, and we're going to roll us a great game. Should be a lot of death. I'm looking forward to it. Alright, so traditionally, attackers start on this side, so that's where the AdMech are. You got the castle and robots up on this hill here. Got the actual Doomstrider and the proxy with the Vanguard and the Rangers inside. Iron Strider Ballistari with Belisarius' Call and his little dude behind him. The Cataphan Breachers and then the Night House. Along with the engines here, kind of tucked in there in between them all to hopefully help heal at least somebody. And then on the Spar Hill, we have the Ruststalkers and the Dominus. Defenders get this side. So you got Scarabs in the front, Scorpex on both sides behind the Scarabs. I tried to be pretty symmetrical with these guys. 2 groups of warriors in front, 2 heavy destroyer groupings, and the Technomancer on both them with the Overlord, Lord, and Royal Warden above them. Then on both sides we have 10 Immortals, the Doomstalker, Doomsday Arc, and Annihilation Barge. Since AdMech are the attackers, they get to go first. So, movement. Alright, so pretty much everybody advanced. The Armature Warglaves and the Night Castlins did not advance, but yeah, everybody else did. There's really no need for a canonical, so we'll just do the AdMech shooting phase. It should be enjoyable. Alright, so there's a whole lot that happens in this shooting phase. The Night Castlins definitely did a whole lot of stuff. Between the 2 of them, they killed the 4 of the warriors and got this Doomstalker down to 1 health. So the Armature Warglaves did a couple points of damage, like 3 I think, to this closest group of heavy destroyers. And the Iron Strider over there that advanced actually managed to do some damage to that far group of Scorpex. I was super impressed. So yeah, these guys advanced for the majority of them, and nobody's really close enough to charge otherwise, so that'll take us to the Necron turn for movement. Alright, so all the injured Necron units regained a health from living metal, and the Technomancer here reanimated 2 of these Necron warriors back, so 1 of each. And then for the movement phase itself, the Scarab unit, these guys are advancing toward the gate along with the Scorpex behind them. These Scorpex are also advancing towards the gate, while these Scarabs are advancing towards the castle and robots over here. Both Annihilation Barges came out of their corners. This one just moved up to here. And that one over there is advancing towards the hill. Since AdMech don't have Suckers, I didn't see the need to bring Catan for this game, so my favorite phase, Necron shooting. Already measured and pretty much everything's in range, so this is going to be a really long phase for me and an almost non-existent amount of time for you guys. But it'll be a good time. Alright, so some really ridiculous stuff happened here. The Warriors and the Immortals were not in range, but everything else was. This Annihilation Barge advanced and couldn't actually shoot. So the two Doomsday Arcs did 10 damage to the actual Knight Castellan. This Doomstalker and these Heavy Destroyers managed to kill off the proxy Doomstrider, and it exploded, and it killed some dudes. And then, not to be outdone, this Doomstalker flat out killed the other one on its own. It also exploded. I mean, I think I've only played a couple of games where I had vehicles explode, but I've never had a game where two vehicles exploded, one right after the other. Both exploded, both killed two guys. It was crazy. Yeah. So these heavy destroyers here on the end, the Enmitic Exterminator one, the Squad Killer, killed off one of the Rangers, and then the other one, the Gauss Destructor, killed off the Iron Strider. So yeah, a whole lot of crazy stuff got shot at and destroyed this turn. So these guys all advanced over here, so they're, although they are close enough to charge, they can't. So yeah, it'll be the AdMech turn to maybe pull something out of something. I mean, they still have the Night House, but and, yeah, they got Belisarius Call, but either way, it's I'm nattering on. It's their turn for movement. So the engine steer here healed the Night Castellan for 3 health, and everyone just moved forward. The Armature Warglaives made it inside, the cemetery here. Breathstalkers got up to the hill. The Breachers and the Rangers got really close to the gate. And everyone else got really, really close. Castle and Robots got over to the hill over there. So I forgot the mechanical for this turn. So it's the Benediction of the Omnissiah. You can reroll failed hit rolls of 1 for affected units in the shooting phase, which will be, pretty sure it's the Vanguard, the Rangers, I think the Castle and Robots and the Breachers, but I gotta double check. Something good to note to myself to hopefully remember for later is that everything really that Bleak owns that's not an Armature Warglaive or a Knight Castellan has the mechanicals of the Omnissiah. So yay! They all get to reroll 1s in the shooting phase to hit, except for the Knight dudes. They're OP enough, they don't need the reroll 1s. So yeah, no Psychers for these guys because they got Machine Spirits. That sounded really weird to say. Either way, they get to shoot though. Lots and lots of shooting. Probably lots of stuff dying from the Castellans. We'll see. Alright, so the AdMech definitely kind of fought back a little bit. So the Rangers, the Vanguard, and the Cataphrone Breachers managed to kill off 4 of these Scarabs and do a little bit of damage to another one. This Armature Warglaive killed off one of these Scorpack Destroyers. The Knights. So the Proxy Knight killed off the Annihilation Barge. the actual knight. Killed off a couple of these warriors here, and then finished off the Doomstalker. Yeah, that was just the shooting phase. Now we get to do the charge phase, because there's going to be charges. So the Cataphrone Breachers are going to charge into the Scarabs. This Warglaive is going to charge into the Scorpic Destroyers over there. And this Warglaive is going to charge into these group of Scorpic Destroyers. So, yeah, things are going to look different here in a second, I believe. So, surprisingly enough, everyone actually made their charges. And surprisingly enough is really for the Breachers. So, this Warglaive didn't do any damage to the Scorpex, but they did a lot of damage to it. The Breachers killed 3 of the Scarab Swarms, and they took a couple points of damage, but not really anything. And this Warglaive did a little bit of damage, but suffered no damage in return. Alright, so we do have the battle inside the graveyard going on now, so it is the Necron turn. We'll do some movement. Whole lot of stuff's going to get a little bit of health back, so that'll be nice. Alright, so all the wounded Scorpex went back to full health. The Locust Destroyer got another health back, so he goes up to 3. And then the Technomancer reanimated the rest of the Necron Warrior squad, so they're back up to full. Movement-wise, not a whole lot moved here. The Lord hopped down to the ground level. The Overlord and the Royal Warden, might be a little hard to see him behind these guys, hopped down from here. These Scarabs got real close to those castling robots. I think I said these Scorpex fell back, but if not, they did. Pretty much all the movement that we're going to do. Yeah, I think if I'd had a Catan, these guys would be a lot closer to being dead. So, it's probably a good thing I don't have one. So the Necron shooting phase, the happy phase, the let's kill this stuff that's red phase. So I feel like I was on the struggle bus for a good portion of that phase. The Annihilation Barge and the Canoptic Doomstalker got this Warglaive down to 1 health, and it was just hurting me really bad. But somehow, one of these warriors got its... of the 4 warriors that, actually managed to hit it, one of them actually... yeah, so... a warrior got the last shot off on a Warglaive. That was super awesome. And then all of these heavy destroyers, this Doomsday Arc, and that Doomsday Arc finally killed off the actual Castellan. 1 knight down, 1 knight to go. And 2 Warglaives, but So charge phase. These Scarabs are absolutely going to charge into those Castellan robots. These Scarabs are still in combat, as are these Scorpex. Not sure how many Scarabs we'll have, still alive at the end of this, but hopefully some. These Scarabs made their charge. Did 5 damage to a Castellan, which was not enough to kill it. They killed 2 Scarabs in return and did a little damage to another one. The Cataphrone Breachers finished off the Scarabs that they were fighting over here, who failed to damage them in any way. And the Scorpic Destroyers did a little bit of damage to the Armiger, but it did kill off one of the Scorpex and definitely damaged the other one. And it failed to reanimate, so... yay. I mean, the Necrons aren't doing too badly right now. It is, however you want to look at it, fortunately or unfortunately. As a Necron player, it's unfortunately the Admech's turn. So we'll do some movement. So the canonical for this turn is Shroud Psalm, which gives all affected units the benefit of cover. If they're already in cover, they don't get extra cover, they're just in cover. So for the movement part, these castlings are going to stay in combat with the scarabs. And this armiger is also going to stay in combat with the Scorpex. The breachers moved a lot forward. These rangers advanced forward into the cemetery. The breachers advanced forward to get up here. Belisarius got a really crappy advance roll, but he's at least made it to the gate. Dominus and the Engine Seer advanced up to the wall. The Night Castellan just stepped over it. The Ruststalkers advanced up onto the hill. And the other armiger is finally on the far side of the hill. I do sometimes wonder why, even with the Machine Spirit, why they couldn't have Psychers. I mean, if Psychers pop up anywhere and could be, part of anything, well, I don't see why they couldn't pop up on Mars. Either way, they don't get Psychers, so... yeah, that'll make it the shooting phase. Don't really quite have the same argument for Admech having Psychers that I do for Jakari having Psychers, so... but either way, yeah, the shooting phase. So the Cataphrone Breachers and the Skitarii Vanguard, the ones that could see them anyway, managed to kill off one of the Scorpex. And the Proxy Night Castellan did a crap ton of damage to the Doomsday Arc, but didn't kill it off. And also killed off 6 of the Immortals. They're probably going to run away. So, well, no, I guess they can't run away. 6 died, 10 leadership, yeah, no. They won't run away. So, charge phase. Pretty sure these Cataphrons are close enough to make the attempt into these Scorpex. This guy is still in combat with 1 Scorpec. And these guys are still in combat with 7 Scarabs. Alright, well, I mean, they didn't make their charge. They gave it a little bit of their all and didn't quite make it. The Armiger killed off the last remaining Scorpec on this side. The Castellan robots killed off 3 of the Scarabs, and then the remaining Scarabs killed off the heavily wounded Castellan robot. Alright, so there's a lot more units that are in the courtyard, but there's a lot less units on the Admech side, so... I'd like to think that it could still go either way because that knight still has full health, so anything is possible at this point. It is the Necron turn, though. So, movement. Alright, so Living Metal kicks in, and the Locust Heavy Destroyers are back up to full, and the Doomsday Arc regains health. Not a whole lot of movement happened here. Mainly, these Scorpex moved closer to the Breachers. The Lord moved up a little bit closer. The Overlord and the Royal Warden advanced down off of the hill. And I went ahead and dropped in the Hexmark Destroyers. They're all 9 inches behind. These guys are 9 inches away from the dude that follows Belisarius around that doesn't actually do anything, as is this guy. And then this one ended up being about 10 or 11 inches away, but they've got 18-inch range on their guns, so it's okay. Yeah, Catan would have been helpful at this point, I think, but I still think that I have the capability to kill the knight without it, so... The happy Necron shooting phase. Alright, so the Necrons did manage to clear the courtyard here a little bit. These 2 Hexmarks killed off the squad of Vanguard that were back here. It took pretty much all of the warriors. It took all the warriors on this side plus all of the warriors on that side to kill off the rest of the rangers that were here. Yeah, and then these close heavy destroyers killed off the Catacomb Breacher. And then the Annihilation Barge, the Doomsday Arc, and the two heavy destroyers on the end managed to kill off the Warglaive. I keep wanting to call it a War Dog, but it was a Warglaive. And the Immortals actually did a couple points of damage to the Warglaive on the far side there. Trying to think. Oh yeah. This Hexmark did indeed fail me. He did 1 point of damage to the infiltrators over here. I mean, it's not an epic fail, but considering what the other two did, it's kind of a fail. Well, I was going to have the Scorpex charge the Breachers, but they're kind of dead, so I guess we're not going to have any charges, and we'll just deal with the Scarab Castle and Robot combat that's going on over here. Alright, so this Castle is just holding out strong. The Scarabs did 3 damage to it, and it killed the Scarab. So yeah, maybe eventually they'll kill it. I don't know. It is the Admech turn though, so we'll deal with some movement from them. Alright, so everybody's in the cemetery courtyard thing here. Belisarius, the Engine Seer, and the Dominus have all crossed inside. The Knight has moved up a little bit. The Ruststalkers have finally made it to the end of the hill here. And the last Warglaive is headed towards the Doomsday Arc. I'm not sure how I always forget about the Canonical, but I do. So we're going to do Chant of the Remorseless Fist, which allows them to reroll rolls of 1 to hit in the fight phase. So then we'll do the shooting phase. So the Warglaive and the Proxy Knight were the only two that were in range to shoot. So the Warglaive did a decent amount of damage to this Doomsday Arc. The Knight just finished it off. The Knight also killed off the 4 other Immortals that were here. So that was rough. Had these Ruststalkers that moved all the way up to here to try and charge into something over here, and now it's dead. Oh well, it's not like they can't go a different way. So for the charge phase, I guess I'm going to try and charge that Knight into that group of warriors here. I mean, we'll see. So the Proxy Knight did not make his charge, but he also didn't take any damage in Overwatch. Over here, the Castle and Robot killed one of the Scarabs and did a decent amount of damage to another one. And did finally succumb to the fear mandibles, and it is dead now. But, you know, again, the Knight didn't take any damage in Overwatch, so there's that. Unfortunately for the Admech, it is the Necron turn for movement. I kind of feel like I'm circling the wagons right now. The Hexmark Destroyers all moved up as far as they could. The Scorpex have gotten a lot closer to Belisarius. The Scarabs came over from their little corner area. The Lord moved up, and the Overlord advanced up. And then something that I don't think I've ever done in a game before, but I moved the Doomsday Arc and the Doomstalker, just so that they could have line of sight. Yeah, again, I never have to move the Doomsday Arcs. This is... Every time I play a game, I feel like I do something that's like a first time in almost every game. So for this game, it was... I actually had to move the Doomsday Arcs. Doomsday Arc, Doomstalkers, you know. Alright, so that'll take us to the shooting phase, where hopefully... I mean, they're doing low power, so it's probably not going to be as awesome. So yeah, Necron shooting. Alright, so the Anitic Exterminators from here killed off 3 of the Ruststalkers, and then all of the backline warriors, the 7 of them that were within range, killed off the rest of them. And then the Gauze Destructors killed off the last Warglaive that was over there. So it took pretty much everything from this Annihilation Barge, the low power shots from the Doomstalker and the Doomsday Arc, plus the Hex Marks over here. It took all of those guys to kill off Belisarius Call. Flat out 2-up save. That's kind of ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it's Belisarius Call, but, still. Alright, so the charge phase, which is going to be the Scorpack Destroyers into the Proxy Knight. Alright, so unfortunately they did not make their charge, and the Proxy Knight killed one in Overwatch. Okay, so that makes it the Admech turn, which really is just the Engine Seer Dominus Proxy Knight, but I'm sure they'll be able to mess up a lot of stuff before I'm able to kill them off, so movement for them. So the Knight has moved up closer here to the Lord and Overlord area. Engine Seer and Dominus advancing forward behind him. So yeah, the shooting phase. This is going to be rough. Alright, so the Proxy Knight managed to kill off the last Scorpack Destroyer, the Lord, and the 2 Scarabs that were over here. So for the charge phase, he's going to charge into the Overlord. So I think I said something earlier about how almost every game I hit something, something new that I've never done before. And so something new that I've never done before. He made the charge into the Overlord, but he didn't kill the Overlord. And then the Overlord, smacked him back with his Void Scythe. And did like 12 damage to him. I've never seen that before. I mean, I've seen it from gun damage before, but I've never seen it from melee damage before. This is like... I'm trying to think of a good example here from like lore that I can remember hearing about. Didn't one of the Primarchs like catch a Warhound Titan, like stop it from stepping on him or something? I feel like this is kind of like that kind of battle. Crazy stuff. So yeah, that makes it the Necron turn. Movement and stuff. Yeah, I'm just still kind of shaken by the 12 damage and then not killing the Overlord. That's just ridiculous. Yeah, movement. Alright, so the Overlord regained a wound from Living Metal and then fell back. And all of these hex marks just moved forward their 8. Still pumped up from... Yeah, Jesus. What a great fight that was. So, Necron is shooting. My prediction is this will probably be the last turn, but Chaos does pull some amazing saves out towards the end of the game, so we'll see how it goes. I say that a lot. Alright, so between the 3 hex marks and this side of Warriors, I managed to kill off the Dominus and the Engine Seer. And then it literally took the Doomstalker, the Doomsday Arc, the Annihilation Barge, and all 4 of the Heavy Destroyers to take out that Knight because, yeah, last unit in the game, he just didn't want to die. I mean, he did eventually die, thankfully, but he just really didn't want to. Alright, so that means that the Necrons win this defense. It's been a really long time since I did a Necron defense, so I quite enjoyed this one. been a while since, I guess it hasn't been that long, like a month maybe, since Necron's an admin spot. So it's probably going to be, not really sure what the upcoming schedule is going to be. I'd like to do, somebody put a bug in my ear about that Orktober thing, and since I'm not really normal, it's probably going to be like some sort of zombie Orktober. And then I want to finish off the League of Random series that I had going on. And then, yeah, we'll see how the upcoming months and my paychecks do for adding on to existing armies, buying tanks and whatnot for the Imperial Guard's another goal. Actually getting everything painted up would be nice too. Pile of shame. If you made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. If you listen to my ranting, I appreciate that too. I hope you guys all have a good day, and thanks for watching.